welcome once again to our show. This is Frank Avila, your host. I want to thank everyone who makes this show possible. Cable Access Network, CAN TV. You're either watching this on Channel 19 or Channel 21 in Chicago, or maybe other channels in the suburbs, or if you're watching us on the internet. Formerly we were on Blip TV and Google Video, but now we're on YouTube, and you can find us under Issue Forum. I also want to thank our guest, Millie Santiago. Thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you, Frank, for inviting me.
But most of all, I want to thank your viewing audience, and I want to appreciate you watching, especially if you live in the 31st Ward of the City of Chicago, which you're going to learn about the boundaries. Don't turn that channel. Lock it in. And you must watch this show because this is very important for you to make a decision who you're going to vote for on the next Alderman in the 31st Ward, or even if you don't live in the 31st Ward, to be informed about who's running in the various wards, especially in these runoffs in the City of Chicago. It's you who make this show possible, and I want to thank you for your emails, your calls, your letters, even your criticisms. I like it if you don't like one of our guests or you don't like what I'm saying, because it shows that you're watching, you have feedback, and it shows that we're providing a valuable service to you, and I truly appreciate it. Now, Millie Santiago is a candidate for 31st Ward Alderman. Now, first of all, Millie, can you tell us maybe a 3-minute biography about yourself? Who is Millie Santiago?
I'm from Puerto Rico, and I came here in the late 70s. And I came here with many dreams, expectations, and I came here to pursue a career, to be someone who would be an example for the generations, for my family. And when I came here, one of the first things that I did was to enroll enlist in the U.S. Army Reserves. So I served my country for about 5 years.
Thank you for your service.
Yes.
So one of your friends who's running, Gilbert Villegas, of course, is a veteran Marine.
Yes.
I did not know you're a veteran. I'm glad to hear it because I'm a veteran. I was in the U.S. Army Reserves.
Yes.
I also got activated to active duty. And I'm so very happy to hear that you are a fellow reservist.
Oh yes,
and U.S. Army, right? You said
U.S. Army Reserves.
Okay,
yes,
good.
And then after that, I went to college and I pursued a career in journalism.
Okay.
And I did print media, radio, and then I did about 20 years in television with Univision and Telemundo. And I was out there for 20 years, you know, being like the voice of the people, especially the Latino community, who at times felt underserved, underrepresented, and taken advantage of. So it was a very important period in my life in which I think it just strengthened my base as a person myself, for passion, for compassion, for public service. And so, you know, I've been living in the ward for 31 years. I raised my 2 daughters in the same house. And all I've seen is my ward going backwards instead of forward. And the more I've been talking to people, my own residents, my community in the 31st Ward, the more I have been, you know, considering being that voice for the people, because people have always asked me, Millie, I think you're ready to for a political position. And it's something that I have taken very humbly, but I think it demonstrates respect for what I've done, and what people really see me as being one of the leaders and one of the people who would probably do better in terms of municipal services, public services, etc.
Well, you have a very impressive resume, and I remember you being in the media because you were there for a long time, very popular, and many people also remember you being in the media, so I think that gives you a strong base, name recognition, face recognition, voice recognition. But going back, what was your MOS in the military?
I was at Combat Support Services.
Oh, wow, combat support. So,
combat support.
You know, combat support services, and like I was telling to Gilbert Villegas, who's in the running in the 36th Ward, is now that we're losing Alderman Balser, was a strong voice for veterans, is you can be a voice for veterans also with Gilbert.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen so many veterans that have not gotten the fair share that they deserve, the attention, the respect especially. You know, I've done so many stories about veterans been homeless, veterans been, you know, struggling for their services, and to be respected and have what they own themselves, you know. And you know, when I worked for the state of Illinois also, I was very involved in all these issues of veterans. And Pat Quinn was one of the people who always was at the forefront to protect veterans' services and the respect that they deserve. So I have a very special heart in my heart when it comes to veterans. And unfortunately, in my personal ward, I haven't seen a specific initiative geared to provide the veterans with the services that they deserve. So that is one of my priorities also.
Now, you kind of explained it. So you got a great resume. You're in media. You could probably get your own television program or radio program or be a consultant in media for other candidates or businesses.
I could do a lot of things.
Right, but why run for alderman? What the hassle, get the cat out of the tree or get the garbage can for your constituent, get the kid a summer job. It's a lot of work, a lot of hassle, sometimes ungrateful. Why do you want to be alderman?
Frank, I've always been a fighter. And I've always been someone who's out there for the people, someone who would represent the answer for justice, the answer for problems, the answer for issues that no one care for it. So, when you are a reporter out there, reporting the issues of the community on a daily basis for about 20 years, you kind of have that heart out there because, when it comes to justice, to fairness, to respect, and to fair services, I am there. I am there. And so after being...
And you have a passion.
And I have the passion. I'm someone who, if there is a woman, standing in the middle of a storm and below zero in the rain, waiting for a bus, I would stop and give them a ride. Right. And they could be strangers. I've chased criminals myself down my alley. Wow. When I see that someone has been attacked in front of me, I am that person who is on the phone and chasing the criminal myself.
That's excellent.
So I think it's.
I never want to get on your bad side.
I think it's a call for duty, because this is what I have always been. Someone who has this inner force to protect service and try to be that hand that people need. This is something that you don't learn. It's something that I think you are born with. And I think this is who I am.
In the first 30 seconds of me talking to you, I get it. You have passion, you have heart, corazón.
I am.
You have it.
I have the heart for the homeless, the heart for the kids, the heart for special ed kids, the special needs people who are underserved, people who do not feel respected, represented, for the seniors of my great city of Chicago. I have my parents. My parents are 95 and 87, and they are the light of my life. Of course, I have two daughters who are, the most special two creatures in my life. But when you have a base of helping others, when you have the base of being someone who could give a little bit of what you have, there's something nothing can take away that from me. So, I've been living in that 31st ward, and after 31 years of turning around and just ignoring what's happening, I could not continue to just turn my face the other way. I had to be part of the action. I wanted to be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem, and that's why I'm in the race.
Now, what is the first thing that you would do as alderman if you were so lucky to be elected, or blessed, or whatever the term would be? Maybe unlucky, but the first thing you do if you were elected alderman?
The first thing I want to tell my residents is that I want to be the voice for everybody, for the Latinos, for the Black, for the Anglos, for the Polish, for the Eastern European, for the Filipino, for everybody in the ward. I want to treat everybody the same, in the same level, because I believe that my ward represents the face of the city, diverse. I want to be that voice for everybody. I am so gifted to be bilingual. But you know what? The more doors I knocked, the more people that I faced every day for about 6 months, the more I'm convinced that my ward is so underrepresented. And I want to be able to be that person that represents the voice, the answer. I want to have an open office where everybody could come and bring me the problems. If I'm not able to solve the problems because it doesn't fall under the city's jurisdiction, I want to be able to pick up a phone and call a Cook County commissioner, to call a state representative, to call a state senator, to call a congressman, and see how we could together bring the services and the resources that a community needs. Because it's about, building coalitions to make the city or the world be a better place for the families.
So you'd be a clearinghouse or an ombudsman for all services, all government services.
Absolutely. I would not picture myself telling someone who would come to my office, unfortunately, this is not something that I could solve for you. This is nothing. It has nothing to do with the city. I would not be able to do that. I said, you know what? Just stay here. I'll be able to try to make a phone call, and if I cannot solve the problem immediately, I make sure that I will get back to that person with an answer, whether if I want to solve it or not. But that person is not going to leave my office without any hope.
Now, what are the top 3 issues in your ward?
Public safety, economic development, and schools.
Okay. Now, let's talk about each one. Public safety. What is the problem, and how do you propose to address it?
Frank, I've been living there for 31 years, as I said, and I've seen more gang activity coming to my ward, more kids hanging out in different corners in different parks. I have talked to families, and they have told me, I feel like a prisoner in my own home, especially during summertime when my kids are not allowed to go to the parks and feel free to have a nice walk around the neighborhood without being fear of being shot at or being attacked by gangs or recruited by gangs. I want to be able to live in a world where everybody feels free, where everybody feels proud of their neighborhood, and I want to be that person who would try to bring the safety, be able to build a better understanding and relationship with the police, so that we together can come up with different solutions. Because sometimes, unfortunately, a great part of the problems is that we are not building a stronger community, a stronger communication with the police, with the schools when it comes to public safety. Sometimes we see police not trusting the neighborhoods because they believe that the neighborhoods or the same people do not really have the respect that they deserve. I want to be able to build a better understanding among families and residents that the police is here to serve and protect. But it takes a proactive effort from every one of us to create a better understanding, be proactive, create more block clubs, empower the community to be more active in different issues and different activities with CAPS meetings, and be the eyes and ears of the community, because we know that police cannot do it alone. It takes the whole community to build a better and safer community.
Now, how do you propose to address economic development? How would you increase economic development in your ward?
One of the things that we see in the 31st Ward is a lot of storefronts that are vacant. A lot of businesses have come.
Now, has this been any specific neighborhoods?
Businesses have left.
Are there some streets or neighborhoods where it's more acute than others?
Fullerton, Diversey, and Cicero Avenue are streets that if you drive by, you see a lot of vacant lots, storefronts that are closed, businesses that have been there and have left after certain years. I want to be able to empower the community and to try to be, someone who encourage the young generation. We have a lot of families there that have raised their kids there and have gone to college. Why not try to reach out to them and empower them to be the new entrepreneurs of the community? Set roots there, open businesses, bring resources, training, involve chambers of commerce, different organizations at city and statewide that are prepared and that are geared to especially promote economic development in the city. I want to create a stronger community where everybody feels proud, where everybody feels like, oh, I don't want to go anywhere else because I have everything here. You know, and I think we have all the potential to do it. There's a lot of opportunities for the young generation and for businesses that don't see the help, don't see the resources, and don't see the support that they are looking for when it comes to opening their own businesses in the city. And I want to be able to create a world where everybody's welcome, to create a world where everybody says, I am so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be a homeowner in the 31st Ward because we have everything here. You know, I think there's a lot of opportunities to do that and accomplish that, but unfortunately we don't have a leader who would be there to provide the resources and be that helping hand that people need. And I want to be that person.
Now, let's talk about the boundaries of the ward. What are the boundaries of the 31st Ward?
You know that we have a new map. This is the first election under the new city map. Our new boundaries are roughly from Central Park Avenue all the way to about Major Avenue, which is west of Central Avenue. And the main arteries from east to west is Fullerton, Diversey, and Belmont. And we have a portion of Addison between Cicero and Pulaski.
Okay.
No, between Cicero and Laramie.
Okay.
So that's more or less how our ward is composed.
And what are some of the neighborhoods in the ward?
I'm sorry?
Some of the neighborhoods.
Oh, Hermosa, Craigen, Belmont, Hermosa, Craigen. Those are the neighborhoods that are, more well known in the community.
Okay. So Belmont, Hermosa, and Craigen. So if you live between, Belmont or Addison on the north to Fullerton on the south, all the way past Central, what's the east boundary?
The east?
The east boundary, yeah.
The east, Central Park.
Central Park.
We took a little bit of Logan Square.
Okay.
Under the new map.
So Central Park is Central, and Hermosa, Craigen, and Belmont communities. If you live in those communities, don't turn this dial. Don't turn it anyway. But then you should consider voting for Millie Santiago. Now, Millie, of course, you're endorsed by one of the sponsors of the show, the Illinois Committee for Honest Government. They've endorsed you because of your great work in the media and your commitment and your passion. And again, I say in this 10 seconds of talking to you, you get that passion, that energy that's so great. And also my father, Commissioner Frank Avila, has endorsed you.
Yes, I know your father too.
Thank
you.
And then, of course, recently you were endorsed by somebody else. Who was that? Who endorsed you last night?
I was just endorsed by Jesus Chuy Garcia, the one running for mayor.
All right.
And it was a very special night last night at the Logan Square Auditorium in the Logan Square neighborhood. And it was
lots of people, lots of energy.
Such a special night. We had about maybe over 600 people last night.
Wow.
And it was a great momentum. We were able to see how the communities have been coming together, because I think we are thirsty for change. We're thirsty for hope. We are thirsty for fairness, something that a lot of communities haven't felt. A lot of communities have felt disengaged by previous administration, and I think that after a very deep conversation with Chuy Garcia, we are convinced that we were basically looking in each other's mirror, because we share a lot of common issues on fairness, on better schools, public safety, on fair housing for everybody. I think both of us represent independent voices of people who at times have felt disrespected, forgotten.
Right.
And I think it's a very important moment in the city of Chicago, and I think the whole nation has their eyes on the city of Chicago with this runoff.
I also think that even if you support Rahm Emanuel, for example, you don't have to vote 100% with the mayor. there has to be issues that in your community you have to disagree with the mayor on, you would think, right? And I find it troubling that some aldermen vote 100% with the mayor.
My own alderman, Ray Suarez, has voted 98% with the mayor.
Yeah.
And if Chuy wins, I'm going to tell him right straight on that camera. If Chuy Garcia wins and he becomes the next mayor of the city of Chicago and I become the next alderman of the 31st Ward, I am not going to be one of your rubber stamps. I want to continue being an independent voice, right, because that's how I have been promoted myself. People need to have independent voices so that at times of voting for something, it has to represent the interest of that community who put you in office.
Because you could be allied with somebody, friends, supporters.
Oh, absolutely.
But you can't always agree because some of these things aren't in the best interest of your community.
Absolutely,
or
absolutely.
What you believe.
I think one of the things that we have to consider is to build a better coalition within the colleagues in city council. Okay. Because honestly, I believe that the great majority of those aldermen do want to represent the needs of their community. Sometimes they get tangled up with some personal interest based on broken promises, even from the same mayor himself.
Right.
But you know what? When it comes to making tough decisions on bills or ordinances that affect the entire city of Chicago, you have to be responsible for your actions. And this is something that I want to be able to carry on with a high level of responsibility.
I think that's excellent. I think that's the right way, is to be an independent voice, to be allied and supportive of people and other people in power, but not be controlled by them or a rubber stamp
Absolutely
or a puppet.
Not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Now, if you could take a second here and tell our viewing audience, first of all, obviously they know your name, but your website, your physical address, your phone number, your email address, as well as your punch number, please. And you could talk into the camera.
My punch number is number 53. Remember, April 7th is the day in which we decide whether or not we want to stay with the same people in power and continue to be disrespected and without any fair representation, or we want to take in our own hands the destiny of the city and the destiny of the 31st Ward. I represent an independent voice. I represent someone who would be carrying integrity, respect, and fairness to everybody. So if you want to give me a chance to carry the 31st Ward in a new direction, count on me, because if you vote for number 53, you are not going to be sorry.
And give them your address, physical address, email.
My office is located at 3108 North Cicero Avenue. My website is millie31.com or milliesantiago.com, because it could be either or. And what else did you want me to give them?
A phone number, email.
Oh, I don't know my phone number.
Okay. Well, look on the website. The website's been on the bottom of the screen throughout the entire show. So you have her website, her physical address, and the email address, and you can contact her if you have a question or concern, or if you want to volunteer on her campaign. And what I see,
yes.
I like.
Yes.
What I see, I like. But I don't tell people what to do who watch my show. We give them choices and options. We're one voice among many. And our endorsement with the Illinois Committee for Honest Government is endorsing Millie Santiago. After you watch the show, after you look at her website, if you decide that's what you want, then please vote for her. And then, also if you'd like to get involved in the democratic process, volunteer in her campaign, knock on doors, make calls, do what you have to do. Now, when is the election again?
Election?
When is the election?
April 7th, Tuesday, okay. April 7th.
And when does early voting start?
March 23rd, and it runs until April 4th. And people could go to any public library and cast their vote. Now,
to our viewing audience, and I don't want to offend anybody, so I know that this show is mostly in English and that we have a mostly English-speaking audience, but the 31st Ward, as many wards in the city of Chicago, have a large Hispanic population, including immigrant population from either from Puerto Rico, which is part of the United States, a Commonwealth, or from Mexico or other nations that speak Spanish. That are immigrants, and people who are born here but their family speaks Spanish. So I wanted to, without disrespecting anybody, have an opportunity, if you could, to please address the residents of the 31st Ward in Spanish who speak Spanish,
Yes,
and maybe
I
give
do.
your message in Spanish.
Oh, that would be great.
Okay. So, por favor, puede hablar en español.
Sí, seguro
Okay.
que sí. A mis residentes votantes del Distrito 31, yo les exhorto a que si usted está inscrito para votar, use ese poder tan importante del voto. Salga a votar el día 7 de abril o vaya a cualquier biblioteca pública desde el día 23 de marzo y dése usted esa oportunidad de tomar en sus manos el destino, ya sea de esta ciudad de Chicago o el destino del Distrito 31, que es lo que yo represento. Yo creo que los votantes hispanos tienen el poder en esta elección de tomar el control y de decidir el destino de esta ciudad, y tienen también esa habilidad para demostrar que el voto sí tiene poder. Así que use ese poder del voto, porque su voto es su voz.
Su voto es su voz. Milly Santiago, gracias.
Gracias,
And to our
Frank.
viewing audience, both thank you, gracias. To our Polish audience, dziękuję.
Yes.
And because I lived in Hawaii for a little bit, aloha, both goodbye and love. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you, Frank.
Goodbye, and God bless you.
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.